Good morning and welcome. We are delighted that you have decided to join us today for our Sunday morning celebration service right here at Unity of Citrus County. We invite you to get settled in. Our service is about to begin in just a few moments. It is our sincere prayer that the music, the meditation, and the message will uplift you and inspire you to become the light of the world that you have come here to be. We invite you to come and visit us in person. We would love to meet you. And we invite you to also visit our website at www.unityofcitrus.org. Have a blessed day. love and your light. You are the light of the world. And we begin this season just recognizing that, this season of Advent, Christmas season, which I will talk a little bit about later on. So would you take a moment, turn to your neighbor and just say hello, hello. Greetings. Take a hand, say hello. So good to be with you. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I am seeing faces that have come back. I see new faces. If you're visiting here for the first time, would you raise your hand? Wonderful. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Unity of Citrus is a positive path for spiritual living. Of course, our mission here is to create a loving, healing, and accepting community. And know that you are welcomed and you are loved, and you came on a good day, because if you came in, you must have smelled the aroma of food. So it's our potluck Sunday. So join us if you can after service. And we'll be celebrating kind of a Thanksgiving dinner together. So thank you. And I forgot to say hello to our Facebook family and our YouTube. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Send us a comment. Let us know that you are watching. We love that you have joined us this morning. Thank you for being with us. So much is happening. This season is just kind of come upon us like, right after Thanksgiving. All of a sudden it's here. But yes, next week when you come, this whole sanctuary will be decorated and beautiful, just as it always is. And so right now what we're just going to do is prepare our hearts and allow that to sink in. And before I do that, I want to say a thank you to our Christmas elves that are, I don't know if you're here, but those of you that delivered the Advent bags to all of our members, if you are here, can you just stand for a moment? Because I know some of them are working in the kitchen, but if you're here, stand. Thank you. Thank you. And there's Michael who's doing some work back there. There's a whole bunch of other people that need to be acknowledged. Thank you for doing that. It was done with so much joy. And I have already gotten a couple of calls of people who have said to me, that was lovely. So yes, you bless them, and now you become the blessing that you receive. So let's create space in our heart right now to set the intention for this service. And I invite you to gently close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And take a deep breath. And release. And with your next breath, begin to invite yourself to be in this present moment, right here, right now. You have come as you are. Come to share your love, to receive that love, and to be the love out in the world. We acknowledge right now the loving presence of God that is everywhere, expressing itself through everything, including you. God is I am. There's nothing else that is real but the love that exists, the harmonizing love, the God love, that pure love that is right here, always with us, expressing as us. So with gratitude in our heart, with expectation, just a willingness to stay open and receptive, we set the intention to be here now. Set the intention to listen, but from our heart, to see through the eyes of spirit, to recognize our oneness in that with whom we move and breathe and have our being. God is I am. We acknowledge that this day with joyful hearts, with hearts full of gratitude, and with a knowing that all is well. And so it is. So it is, and so we allow it to be this beautiful day. Amen. Would you say with me our affirmation of oneness? There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. Namaste.
Good morning. Today's daily word is hope and faith. Hope dawns within me and leads me to deepen in my faith. As Advent season begins, I say no to pessimistic or hopeless notions that may have crept into my thinking, dimming my hope and weighing on my mind and in my heart. Today I say yes to goodness and positivity. I feel a sense of renewed hope dawning within me, a promise that something wonderful is on its way. In these moments, I feel my faith is reborn. I reaffirm my belief that no earthly condition, no worldly circumstance is greater than my spirit. This is where I place my faith, in the power, presence, love, and grace of God. As I call upon these divine attributes within myself, I perceive them more readily in others. I grow in faith that together we have the power to create the world of our highest imagination. From Romans chapter 15, verse 13, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. So may each one of you be filled with hope and faith. Namaste.
I have faith, I pray faith, I choose faith, I am faith, I have faith, I pray faith, I choose faith, I am faith, I have hope, I pray hope, I choose hope, I am hope, I have hope, I pray hope, I choose hope, I am hope. When I trust and I let go, I know all is well. I have love, I pray love, I choose love, I am love, I have love, I pray love, I am love. I am love. You are love. We are love. All God's children are love. You are love. We are love. All God's children are love.
So now is the time for us to feel the safety and the beauty in this sanctuary. And we practice that power of meditation. So I invite you now to get it extremely comfortable in your chair. Close your eyes if you'd like, or soften your gaze. And make sure both feet are flat on the floor. This is just a sacred reminder of oneness with the entire universe. And I invite you right now just to breathe a nice cleansing breath in this present moment. And with this breath, it reminds us of the beauty of living. And if there's any place in your body that needs some extra attention or energy, please send that energy to that place in your body. And right now we express gratitude for our thinking mind. However, we know that the thinking is not where our truth lies. So we express gratitude to this thinking mind and just observe those thoughts. And go to that place inside that already knows. This is where our guidance is. And we place a smile on our face. And when we place this smile, we notice that we are so much lighter. And right in front of us is this gorgeous banquet table. And this ignites our curiosity. So we walk over to this beautiful banquet table. And we realize this is not food, but all the different spiritual substances that are already available inside us. So we notice the spiritual gift of forgiveness. So we sit down and we just feed on the power of forgiveness. And then we notice that there is the spiritual gift of acceptance, of wholeness, of healing, of connection, of worthiness, of grace. or guidance. Whatever it is that you need in this present moment, feed on this sacred gift. So in the silence, explore what is yours that you need in this present moment. Listen. Notice again, with a smile on your face, of this spiritual feeding substance of truth, the truth of who you are, living in this sacred oneness, being mindful of our thoughts, that practice of prayer and meditation, and honoring our divinity so that we may see the divine in everyone. Always remember that the inside realm is your birthright. And at any time that you are needing spiritual substance, you can return to this place 24/7 with no password other than peace. Be still and know. So with this renewed sense of hope and faith, we take this inner sanctuary outside to the outside sanctuary. And we take another nice cleansing breath with an attitude of gratitude for the beauty of being here, right now. Namaste.
Thank you, Annie. Faith and hope. Faith and hope. You believe that there's only 28 days for Christmas? Oh my goodness. Where has time gone? You know, when I think about Christmas, I always think about that it's almost like a time of going home to be with family and with friends. And if you're the one that's hosting, it's a time for you to do the cooking and the shopping and the decorating. And this is an anticipation that builds up during the weeks preceding the Christmas day. And for some of us, it's not always as joyful. We miss people that are no longer with us. And yet we embrace the truth that if they're not in their physical body, their life is still eternal and with us. And so we honor the memory of them. So for us, we recognize that Christmas is a whole lot more than all the things that I've listed before, the cooking, the shopping, the planning, the laughing, all those things that we do together. It is so much more deeper significance in this holiday season. And for us, we recognize that it is all this preparation, there's also an internal preparation. We're preparing a heart. We're preparing the space in that sacred sanctuary within us to receive the Christ child once again. So this is what Advent is all about. We start in the Advent season. It's about preparing ourselves to embark on a mystical journey, an inner journey that's taking us back home, not to a place, but to a state of consciousness where Christ abides. See, the child that we celebrate during the season of Christmas carry within itself the light of the world. It is the same light that you carry, the same light that is within you. You are the light of the world. And this light is not born in you, but it is your divine nature that has always been. Not something in you, but the sum total of everything that is good and real in you. It is your wholeness, your perfection, that was made in the image and the likeness of God. And this is the body temple that houses it, that lives in through. So during Advent, the goal is to dedicate ourselves with prayer, with meditation, to prepare the way of the Lord, to prepare ourselves to releasing anything that stands in the way that does not accept the truth that you are the light of the world, that you are divine in nature. So this morning we lit the first candle that represents faith and hope. In the weeks that follow, we will light a candle every week that will represent an aspect of that which we will carry in our journey within. And as we light this candle, as we look at it, this lit candle at the end, I want you to remember and trust with all your heart that there is a higher power within you that guides you and is always leading you to your highest good. So as I prepared for this, I thought, be a good time for us to revisit the Christmas story. I think it's important to come back to it at this time of the year and examine the consciousness that the Christmas story brings to us. You see, that Christmas story is about us. That's why it resonates in so many of our hearts, because it's our story. It represents that universal yearning in our soul to return home, to go to that Bethlehem place within, that place of substance, the place of spiritual life that is within us, and to find that higher self, reconnect, and make it anew in us. So we're going to do that this morning. We're going to revisit this story a little bit and try to examine the consciousness that it brings to us. The traditional story is kind of a blend of what appears in the Gospel of Matthew and Luke. And so I'm going to begin usually with Angel Gabriel. He shows up and he tells Mary that she will bear a son. Now, can you imagine Mary? The shock she must have felt? First of all, the fear, an angel has shown up, but it says in the scripture that she was fearful, but mostly I think she was shocked. I'm going to have a baby? The angel tells her, Mary, full of grace, thou art highly favored. The Lord is with you. You will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you will name him Jesus. Well, if I were Mary, and I'm sure she felt the same emotions I would have felt, very surprised and very confused, because she says to the angel, well, how can that be? I don't even have a husband. How's that possible? But the messenger from the spiritual realm
says to her that the Holy Spirit will cause this miracle. And then Mary, without any hesitation, she says, "Here am I, the servant of the Lord. Let it be according to your word." Now, you know that Mary had dreams and hopes of her own. And she realized that this new declaration that she would have a child and that she accepts that, she knew that it was going to turn her whole world upside down. She had hoped to be Joseph's wife. And like any bride, probably hoping and anticipating, I'm going to have my own home, and we're going to have children, and I'm going to raise those children, and it'll be a happy home. And then in addition to having to release that hope because she had something greater to hold on to, her faith was so unwavering that she was willing to put that aside for something greater. In addition to that, she probably felt afraid. I would have. She was going to be a single woman with a child. That was not accepted. She could have been punished to death. Imagine. But despite all that, despite all those things that must have been kind of stirring in her heart and mind, she said, "Here I am, Lord. Here I am. Let it be according to your word." Talk about surrendering, huh? Talk about surrendering. What power of faith ignited in her to be able to be assured that God would be with her and see her through, that there was a power greater in her life, and that no matter what she would face, she trusted and believed with unwavering faith that somehow it would work for her good. Her faith was the thing that allowed her to embrace the vision of this new vision of her life that would be greater than what she had planned. So Mary, like all the other characters in the story, represent a state of consciousness. In Unity, we see Mary as representing a virgin state of consciousness that is pure and open and receptive to divine ideas, highly intuitive and sensitive to spiritual inspiration. It's a consciousness that has no inclination to say no to the urgings of spirit. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said this about Mary, that she represents the soul that magnifies the Lord daily, and through its devotion prepares itself for the higher life. That's what our practice does. It helps us prepare for that higher calling of allowing the divine to express more of itself in our lives. And you need faith to be assured that that is the truth of you and that you are capable to express more of that. The angel Gabriel, as I said, represents, messengers from the spiritual realm. And he tells Mary that her cousin Elizabeth, who was old now, she was old and she had been barren for many years, was now with child, and that she needs to go and visit with her. Wow, Elizabeth was pretty old, right? She was really old. And all this time, she never wavered in that God's promise to her to have a child will come to fruition. So Elizabeth represents that consciousness that we sometimes hold that is full of love and faith. And faith that what we know is true will happen, will come to pass. And so Elizabeth, she goes to visit Elizabeth, and there's a great joyful reunion. And Elizabeth eventually has a child that was promised to her. And that child was John the Baptist. He represents hope. Hope is that feeling, that expectation that we have for certain things that we desire to happen. That's the hope. Not as strong as faith, but that's the hope, because sometimes we change it, don't we? We hope for something and then we say, no, that didn't work, right? Faith does not. Faith hangs on, believing. So Elizabeth gives birth to John the Baptist. And John the Baptist doesn't just represent hope, he also represents the washing away of our fears and our limitations and any idea of barrenness in us that we think we are unworthy. We carry the light of the world. So sometimes in consciousness, John the Baptist needs to come and clear out those thoughts, those feelings, those beliefs, to prepare the way of the Lord. He was the forerunner of the Christ. So he was preparing for the Christ consciousness. And so are we in this Advent season, preparing that as well. Allowing ourselves to release anything that is not the truth as it has been revealed to us by Spirit. Not because I say it, because you know it in your heart. John the Baptist himself said, he must increase and I must decrease. The Christ in us needs to be the guiding light in our lives. Needs to be how we make our decisions and how we follow and live this life. Not the ego. What he's saying is that faith in our Christ consciousness needs to be greater than our fears, greater than our thoughts of limitation, greater than our expectations, greater than hope. It has to be greater. The ego consciousness must become less and under the direction of the Christ consciousness. Hope must give way to faith. John prepared the way for the Christ. He gave way to faith in believing that this would be so. In Hebrews it says, Hebrews chapter 11:1 says, faith is the assurance, no wavering, the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not yet seen. Sometimes we don't see clearly how life will unfold. We just can't make sense of it. But we have hope. And more than that, we have faith that whatever it is going to work all together for our good. Never lose your faith in that God is where you are. One power, one presence in the universe and in your life. So, now if you remember, let me get back to the story. So Mary was betrothed to Joseph. In those days, it was like practically being married, really. And so when Mary returns from visiting Elizabeth, he notices, this woman, there's a problem here. She's with child. So he didn't want to shame her or do anything to cause her pain. So he delicately decides that he will secretly divorce her. And she would go away, this sweet young woman. But he changes his mind when the same angel that showed up to Mary shows up to him while he was asleep. Sometimes we make rash decisions without finding the rest that we need to connect, go to headquarters and find out what is ours to do. And so that's what happened with Joseph. He made a rash decision right away. He saw this evidence out here, and so he made a decision. He said, I'm going to divorce her. Be gone. But when he rested, the angel, the messages from spirit realm came to him. And he said, do not be afraid to embrace Mary as your wife, for the one conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. See, sometimes when we pause, I love pauses. I love when I don't know what to do, not to react, but to rest upon spirit. Allow your mind to rest. Sometimes my deepest revelations have come to me when my mind is at rest. Mostly when I'm asleep, I get the most amazing dreams sometimes because my mind is at rest. I get the messages from the spiritual realm. So while Joseph slept, this is what happened to him. Joseph represents that thinking nature in us, you know. We kind of always rely on our intellect when something is happening. So that's what happened to him. He saw the evidence. He said, oh, I'm out of here. You know? So sometimes that's what happens. We rely on this intellect that is not under the submission of the Christ consciousness. But listen to this. But because Joseph hears and he responds to the angelic message, he is also represents wisdom. When we are listening, when we are paying attention to the guidance of spirit, our consciousness is filled with wisdom. And so Joseph is that evolving consciousness that became aware of something. Emmanuel, God with us. The right state of consciousness is so important for our spiritual growth, for our understanding of what's happening in the divine realm within. A consciousness where wisdom and love unite, when you're pursued for that, your heart yearns for that is holy and sacred and good in you. And you allow wisdom to guide you in that journey. Then the hope gives way to faith. It becomes greater. That Christ consciousness becomes greater than your human nature. And you can endure so many things. Sometimes we find ourselves in a state of mind where we cannot see this. We cannot see the greater vision for ourselves. We just can't. And we wonder, how can anything good come from what is going on in my life right now? And yet over and again, I know you must, as I do, I know I speak for myself over and again, in some of the most trying times of my life, that's when I've had the greatest spiritual revelation. That's when I've really grown. It has stretched me, has pulled me to grow. It's pruned me. Yeah, so something good is always coming out of the experience if you allow it. So the Christmas story is really a story of hope. It's a story of faith. It's a story of surrendering ourselves for a greater vision. Christ in us, our hope of glory. And although the story is not historically accurate, we know that, it offers us so many valuable lessons. It teaches us to listen to our inner guidance, and to release our fears and our doubts, and to say yes to the power within that is greater, the Christ presence. It teaches us to bring forth like a marriage, figuratively speaking, of our head and our heart. A marriage of wisdom and love. See, the Christ child that was born in Bethlehem was not born in the inn because there was no room in the inn. And sometimes it's not, we can't acknowledge it, we can't become aware because there's no room in the inn. Our thoughts and our beliefs have crowded out any spiritual ideas, any spiritual truth. So where is he born? He is born in a manger, a container of food for the domestic animals. But that manger represents something much more deeper. That manger represents provision for the human heart, the human being. in which the Christ consciousness can be born. The manger of your heart. So I ask you today, is the manger of your heart ready to rebirth the Christ consciousness? Is your heart open and receptive to feel the emotion of the Christ presence within you? I know you know what I'm talking about, because whether you believe it or not, you have felt that presence. You know, not a whole lot has changed since Jesus was born that night so many moons ago. The world that Jesus grew in was not very different from the world that we are in now. There was violence and many times extraordinary cruelty. And it has not changed, right? We still have violence and cruelty. We say oftentimes that the world has become small. You know, when I grew up, I never knew what was going on outside my little realm. And now, 24/7, you can find out what's going on all over the world. So the world has become smaller. But the need for peace, the need for us to show up as the light of the world has grown bigger, has grown so much more bigger. Baby Jesus grew into a man that became aware of this life, this new life full of light. He became aware of that. And he became aware of his divine nature. And he embraced it. And he did that journey of releasing from consciousness all that was not true about him, so that he became the Christ here on earth. Incarnate love, pure love. And he made way for this Christ presence, this divine nature to be greater in his life than his human nature. And he let hope give way to faith, and with assurance of things not yet seen, he went ahead and he taught about compassion, and he taught about forgiveness and love and generosity. He told us that we were a child of God too, children of God. No different. He told us that what he did, we can do also. His teachings have impacted and changed lives, countless and countless lives, and has changed us. And has helped us to rise up when we put them into practice. Because to know them is not mean nothing. To hear, to be a presence of love and presence of peace, to have compassion, forgiveness, and generous spirit doesn't mean a thing. Because it's all here, not here. It has to be a marriage, a knowing, and then a being that. A knowing and a being. His teachings will change your life if you apply them. So Christ, my friends, is very much alive in you. It is who you are. You are the Christ, the incarnate love. Holy and sacred are you. So this week I want to invite you to reflect on these words, reflect on this gift of love, which is the Christ presence in you. See yourself for what you truly are. See yourself, you're more than this body. And see others as well in that way. Be willing to release those thoughts and beliefs and feelings and all that garbage that does not accept that truth for you and for others. Angelus Celicis, a German priest, also known as a mystic, said this: though Christ 1,000 times in Bethlehem be born, if he's not born in thee, thy soul is forlorn. You'll never be happy. Let go of those things that you know are not true. Let go of the things that keep you from being the love, the peace, from offering compassion and forgiveness. Let it go. You'll be so relieved because you are making the way for the Christ to be born anew in you. So I leave you with this verse. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Namaste.
There's only one reason for the season. Only one. Only one. One reason for the season. Call it joy, call it peace, call it love. Can you feel the magic of the season in the hearts of every boy and girl, far and near, year after year, awaiting a new hope for the world, hope that grows with the minutes and the hours, even on the dark, longest night, resting assured that every prayer is heard, and blessed with the return of the light. For the one reason for the season, there's only one. Only one. One reason for the season. Call it joy, call it peace, call it love. And whatever sorrow, whatever triumphs, whatever stories the year has told, may our hearts embrace the whole human race as we let the miracles unfold. For the one reason for the season, only one. There's only one. One reason for the season. Call it joy, call it peace, call it love. There in your heart, you are still that little girl, that little boy who never gives up hoping for one more season of joy. For the one reason for the season, only one. There's only one. One reason for the season. Call it joy, call it peace,
Thank you, Reverend Luz. Wonderful message. Something important for us to remember, that wonderful Christ light that we are. So now is the time in our service for our offertory. This allows us to continue with our wonderful message here at Unity. So I invite you to take your tithes or your offertory in your hands, and together with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. And so now, right now, we visualize the abundance that is being received so that we may continue with this message of love and peace. And so it is. Thank you. Now the prayer protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us, and I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is divine. Hey, just a couple announcements. One is we have the angel program, and I believe we have a couple of other angels that we can adopt. So if you're interested, I believe that's out in the lobby. And as you can see, we're already having 3 little angel packages. So if anybody's interested, see Bonnie and be out in the lobby. Now, everybody probably has one of these little slips of paper. Not everybody, okay. Thank you, Bob. Well, you can have a sheet of paper. This is because this is the last day of that Coke bottle that we've been filling up. So it's time for us to count the amount that's in there so that each person that's interested, please put the dollar amount that you think is in there and remember your name, because whoever is close doesn't get the whole amount, but will get a gift. And excuse me, and also just stick it in the mailbox. Right by the lobby. And I believe Luce might have a few other tidbits.
I do. Yeah, well, on your way out, you can pick up a slip if you didn't get one. And I really do want to urge you that these this is our Christmas outreach to children who are really needing our support to get Christmas gifts. We have 25 children that we've adopted. And if you go to that table over there, I think we're halfway there. Bonnie, are you there? We're almost halfway there, aren't we? Yeah, so please get one. You will be blessing a child this Christmas with your love. They'll open those gifts. So they're starting to come in. The deadline for them to be here will be on December 10th, because then we have to take them to the children itself, to the resource center. And then one last thing, right after our celebration of eating together, a fellowship, really, a group of us are going to go to the Valerie Theater to see the play, Sisterhood, Charitable Sisterhood. And if you haven't gotten a ticket and you want to kind of join the caravan of cars that are leading up there, please do so today. You can go right to the box office and get your ticket there. So I bless you and love you and appreciate you. I behold the Christ in you. May this week, that beautiful light that you are, shine ever so brightly. Thank you. And I'll meet you in the lobby. Would you stand with me and let's sing the peace song together.
reason for the season. Only one, only one, one reason for the season. Call it joy, call it peace, call it love. Can you feel the magic of the season in the hearts of every boy and girl, far and near, year after year, awaiting a new hope for the world, hope that grows with the minutes and the hours.